So let's talk about the final installment of John Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy, In the Mouth of Madness. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Doyle, better known to as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 1994 supernatural horror flick In the Mouth of Madness, released by New Line Cinema, directed and scored by John Carpenter and written by Michael DeLuca, starring Sam Neill along with Julie Carmen, Jurgen Prochnow, David Warner, and Charlton Heston. The film focuses on an insurance investigator named John Trent who visits a small town while looking into the disappearance of a successful author of horror novels and begins to question his sanity as the lines between reality and fiction seem to blur. Now, of course, informally, this is the third installment in what Carpenter refers to as his Apocalypse trilogy, The Thing and Prince of Darkness, which were both released by Universal. This one wasn't. As I've already mentioned, this was released by New Line Cinema, who, of course, were already well known for doing Nightmare on Elm Street. This film pays tribute to the works of author H.P. Lovecraft in its exploration of insanity, and its title is derived from the Lovecraft novella At the Mountains of Madness. Now like Prince of Darkness, it's received mixed reviews but has garnered a cult following. And it did alright. In the midst of an unspecified disaster, Dr. Wren visits John Trent, a patient in a psychiatric hospital, and he recounts his story. Trent, a freelance insurance investigator, has lunch with the owner of an insurance company who asks Trent to work with his largest client investigating a claim by New York based Arcane Publishing. During their conversation, Trent is attacked by a man with mutated eyes wielding an axe who, after asking him if he reads popular horror novelist Sutter Kane, is shot dead by the police. The man was Kane's agent, who went insane and killed his family after reading one of Kane's books. Trent meets with Arcane director Jackson Harglow, who tasks him with investigating the disappearance of Kane and recovering the manuscript for his final novel. He assigns Kane's editor, Linda Stiles, to accompany him. Linda explains that Kane's stories have been known to cause disorientation, memory loss, and paranoia in less stable readers. Trent is skeptical, convinced the disappearance is a publicity stunt. Trent notices red lines on the covers of Kane's books. I'm sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied. Which, when aligned properly, form the outline of New Hampshire and mark a location alluded to the Hobbs Inn, the fictional setting for many of Kane's works. Linda experiences bizarre phenomena during the late night drive, and they inexplicably arrive at Hobbs Inn in daylight. Trent and Linda search the small town, encountering people and landmarks described as fictional in Kane's novels. Trent believes it all to be staged, but Linda disagrees. She admits to Trent that Arcane's claim was a stunt to promote Kane's book, but the time distortion and exact replica of Hobbs End were not part of the plan. Linda enters a church to confront Kane, who exposes her to his final novel, In the Mouth of Madness, which drives her insane. She begins embracing and kissing a mutated Kane, a man who had previously attempted to stop Kane's insidious agenda, approaches Trent in a bar and warns him to leave, then commits suicide. Outside, a mob of monstrous-looking townspeople descend upon Trent. Trent drives away, but is repeatedly teleported back to the center of town. After crashing his car, Trent awakens inside a church with Linda, where Kane explains that the public's belief in his stories freed an ancient race of monstrous beings called the Old Ones, which will reclaim the Earth. Kane reveals that Trent is merely one of his characters, who must follow Kane's plot and return the manuscript of In the Mouth of Menace to Arcane, furthering the end of humanity. After giving Trent the manuscript, Kane tears himself and a wooden door behind him open as if they were paper, creating a portal to the dimension of Kane's monstrous masters. Trent sees a long tunnel that Kane said would take him back to his world and urges Linda to come with him. She tells him she can't because she has already read the entire book. Trent races down the hall with Kane's monsters close on his heels, and he suddenly finds himself lying on a country road, apparently back in reality. During his return to New York, Trent destroys the manuscript. Now for the ending. As always, you know the procedure. You have 5 seconds to stop this video. Go to the description box below. Fast forward to the time below. If you've seen the movie already, please continue. Okay, you've been warned. Back at Arcane, Trent relates his experience to Harglow. Harglow claims ignorance of Linda. Trent was sent alone to find Kane, and the manuscript was delivered months earlier. In the Mouth of Madness has been on sale for weeks with a film adaptation in post-production. Trent then encounters a reader of the newly released novel, who is bleeding from his altered eyes. Trent murders him with an axe, and then he is arrested for murder and sent to the asylum. After Trent finishes telling his story, Dr. Wren judges it a meaningless hallucination. Trent wakes the following day to find the asylum abandoned, and he departs as a radio announces that the world has been overrun with monstrous creatures, including mutating humans, and that outbreaks of suicide and mass murder are commonplace. Trent then goes to see the In the Mouth of Madness film, where he discovers that he is the main character. As he watches his previous actions play out on screen, including a scene where he insisted to Linda, "This is reality," Trent begins laughing hysterically. End of story. So, what did I think of In the Mouth of Madness? Well, I should point out, like Prince of Darkness, I've only seen this twice. I will say it's not too bad. It's kind of pretty freaky in some parts, but it's a fine film, what have you, in some ways. Now, the film opened in February of 1995, although it was released in Italy back in December of 1994. So, henceforth, it's counted as a 1994 film. Though the film was considered a box office failure, only making $8 million domestically, well, almost $9 million against its $8 million budget, it still went on to become a cult classic. According to Rotten Tomatoes, who have it at 58%, they say if it fails to make the most of its intriguing premise, the film remains a decent enough diversion for horror fans and John Carpenter completists. Absolutely, I agree. I mean, this is kind of a pretty good horror flick. Given the fact it's John Carpenter. Now, let's see. Now, critics generally commended the film on its technical aspects, particularly its special effects, acting, and directing, but perceived it as being too complicated, confusing, pretentious, and underwhelming. That's understandable. Roger Ebert said, while complimenting Neill's acting and Carpenter's work as a director, but ultimately said the film fell flat due to its screenplay, saying, "One wonders how In the Mouth of Madness might have turned out if the script had contained even just a little more wit and ambition." And Gene Siskel, well, said, "The film comes close to doing something interesting, but gets cold feet, and is confusing, weird, and not very involving." Well, that's understandable. The story's fine, what have you, but everything else is good, though. I like the score and what have you, which John Carpenter co-composed with Jim Lang. That's Lang, not to be confused with. Well, I won't go to the subject. Now, as for our cast, on the other hand, we have Sam Neill playing John Trent after he recently played Dr. Grant in Jurassic Park before this. Julie Carmen played Linda Stiles. She was pretty good. Jurgen Prochnow played Sutter Kane. Dr. Wren is played by David Warner, who of course appeared in the original Omen. John Glover played the character of Saperstein, and Bernie Casey played the character of Robinson. I remember him from Revenge of the Nerds. And Charlton Heston played Jackson Harglow. He was pretty good. We also even have appearances from Francis Bay and even a young Hayden Christensen before he played the teenage version of a certain Anakin Skywalker, making his film debut, but just briefly, he's the paper boy. John encounters when he's brought back into to the real world in ways. Well, that's in my opinion. But anyway, it got released on video cassette and DVD plus Blu-ray at times from New Line. And then the Warner Archive re-released it by 2016. A couple years later, Shout Factory released a collector's edition Blu-ray under their Scream Factory label. Anyway, from what I've seen of In the Mouth of Madness, I thought it was good. I mean, the story was all right and what have you, but it was the characters, the cast, the music, and yeah, I agree with the special effects, and of course John Carpenter's direction. So anyway, with everything said, In the Mouth of Madness, it's not too bad. But would I recommend it? I'd say sure, go ahead. Definitely. If you're a hardcore John Carpenter fan, then a one-time watch would suit me just fine. And if you like it, then go for it. Keep going with it. Anyway, it was kind of freaky, frightening. But hey, that's just what we could get from, some films of John Carpenter's, you know. So what did you think of In the Mouth of Madness? Let me know in the comment section below. If you liked the video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Join me next time when I bring to you a review of another John Carpenter film, and that's They Live. And as I mentioned in my last video, I said I'm going to be putting The Fog in next week. Well, in this week's lineup. So after I do They Live, you will be getting a review of that before I review The Evil and go on from there. Okay. So anyway, that's all I'm going to tell you. So again, let me know what you thought about the film. So next time will be They Live. So if you like this, consider checking out my reviews of these other films. In the upper left-hand corner is the first installment of Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy, that being The Thing from 1982. The upper right-hand corner is my review of the second installment of the trilogy, and that was Prince of Darkness from 1987. Or if you'd like a little bit of early Charlton Heston, go to the bottom left-hand corner and see my review of the original Planet of the Apes. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.